This video shows how to set up the Nets Home panic button. I've bought the panic button for my 80-year-old dad. It connects to his Wi-Fi router and will send notifications to the Nets Home app on my phone wherever I am, provided I have either a Wi-Fi or a mobile phone signal. Unboxing the panic button, you can see that it is a small unit which just has a simple big button to press to raise an alarm. It is supplied with a sticky pad so that you can stick the panic button to a fixed location. However, I suspect that most people will use the supplied lanyard to wear it around their necks. You will also find the instructions in the box, along with a small piece of paper with a QR code which is used during the setup. The QR code is also inside the panic button, so try not to lose this piece of paper, but it's not the end of the world if you do lose it. Finally, there is a very small screwdriver that you need to open up the panic button to install the batteries. Find a safe place to store this screwdriver so that you can replace the battery in a year's time. The phone that is going to receive the alarms from the panic button must be connected to Wi-Fi using the 2.4 GHz, not 5 GHz. If you have BT broadband, you can log into the management port by typing 192.168.1.254. Then click My Devices and scroll down the list until you find your phone. In my case, you can see my phone, which is at the bottom of the list, and you can see that it is using 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi. I now need to install the Nets Home app on my phone. I've got an Android phone, so I go to the Google Play Store and search for Nets Home and install it. As you can see, I've already installed the app before I recorded this clip. Use the supplied screwdriver to unscrew the screw on the front and the 4 screws on the rear of the panic button. I then found it quite fiddly to prise apart the panic button. Be firm, but don't break the panic button to get into the panic button. You can see the QR code which is used in the setup process and should be the same as the QR code on the small piece of paper. Nets Home recommend that you use the QR code inside the panic button. I suspect that's just in case the paper QR code is different. Do not put the batteries into the panic button yet. Go to your phone and open up the Nets Home app. Assuming this is your first Nets Home device, you will need to create an account. So tap the sign up button and enter your email address, password and nickname. I entered Dad as my nickname since he will be using the panic button. Finally, enter the captcha code. Check your email and click on the link to activate your account. You can now log into your Nets Home account with your username and password. There are a few help pages to get you started with the app. It's worth having a quick read because it uses long press to get to some pages and short press to access other pages. The app will work with other Nets Home smart home devices, which are normally fixed in one room, so the app is set up to show the devices in each room. The panic button will be worn and will therefore move from room to room. I decided to set up the panic button in the kitchen in the app. So tap Kitchen in the menu bar at the top of the screen and then click the big plus symbol. You are then presented with a long list of pictures of the different Nets Home devices. The panic button is towards the bottom. This screen is a reminder not to use 5 GHz Wi-Fi, which we checked earlier. We can just enter the Wi-Fi password. This password is the normal password that you would enter for a new Wi-Fi device that you want to connect to your Wi-Fi. You now need to scan the QR code. Tap and then give permission for the app to take photos and record video. Nets Home recommend that you scan the code in the panic button's battery compartment. In theory, you should be able to scan the QR code on the piece of paper we saw earlier in the video. I initially tried to get as close as possible to the QR code, but as you can see, it actually successfully scanned the QR code when I actually moved the phone further away from the QR code. The app is now ready to pair with the panic button over the Wi-Fi network. Nets Home recommend that you turn off mobile data on your phone temporarily, which you can do by going into Settings on an Android phone and tap Wireless and Networks and then tap Mobile Network and slide mobile data to off. I watched a Nets Home video which stated that you need to turn on GPS location under System Settings. I misinterpreted this and I enabled location for the Nets Home app. I think that these clips which show how to enable location for the NetsHome app are therefore not required. However, I am including, just in case you have problems, then try enabling location as shown in these clips. You now need to press the WPS button on your router. On my BT Hub, I press the WPS button for a few seconds. The blue light flashes to confirm WPS has been activated. And WPS will only stay activated on your router for 2 minutes, so you now need to quite quickly install a couple of new AA batteries into the panic button. At this stage, don't put the cover back on the panic button. Go back to the app and tap pair. The app should now be able to find the panic button and pair the app and the panic button. If it is successful, the app will jump to the room screen that you selected for the panic button. In my case, you can see that the panic button has now been installed in the kitchen. It took me several attempts to successfully pair the panic button. If you are unsuccessful and get this timeout message, start again, take the batteries out and repeat the process from where you click the big plus sign on the kitchen page in the app. When you have successfully paired the panic button with the NetsHome app, you can screw the battery cover back onto the panic button and fit the supplied lanyard. Also, don't forget to go back into settings on your phone and switch mobile data back on. You can now go back into the NetsHome app and long press the panic button. You can change the name of the device or move it to a different room. You can also see the signal strength and the device's time. The most useful part of the setup is the mode, which allows you to control the alarm sounds. The chime mode is set up by default. This generates a short notification sound on your phone. The alert mode, on the other hand, generates a much more distinctive alert sound that I prefer, so I use the alert mode. In my testing on my Huawei phone, I had a few problems ensuring that the alarm did sound reliably. My Huawei phone has aggressive battery saving and tends to shut down background processors. This has caused problems for other apps, and luckily there is a simple solution that I've discovered. In settings, search for battery and then tap battery optimization. Change the drop-down filter to all apps and then search for NetsHome and tap on NetsHome. This will show that battery optimization is allowed. So change this to Don't Allow and tap OK. My Huawei phone will now not shut down the background process. I'm now ready to test the panic button. After pressing the button, there is a delay of around 15 seconds until the alarm sounds on your phone. As you can hear, the alarm sound in alert mode that I set up earlier is quite distinctive. The alert sound lasts for 10 seconds. There is also a notification on your phone to show that the panic button has been pressed. In the app, the panic button icon has a red border to show that there has been an alert. You can either clear by short tapping the icon, or if you long tap the icon, you can see that the history has been updated with the date and time of the alert. So if you miss the 10-second sound, then you will see the notification on your phone. And even after you've cancelled the notification, the NetsHome app will have a record of the timestamp of the alarm. On my Android version 9 phone, the alert sound was audible in Do Not Disturb mode, but was silent when the phone is in silent mode. In later versions of Android, you will want to add the NetsHome app to the list of app exceptions to Do Not Disturb mode. However, if you have put your phone in silent mode, then there will be no audible alert, only the notification which you will see the next time you check your phone. This may be acceptable because you have presumably put your phone into silent mode because you're in a situation or environment where you absolutely do not want any audible interruptions. You can obviously put your phone into vibrate mode in these situations, however the vibration is quite short and you may miss it. In summary, I think that the Nets Home panic button is a cost-effective solution to providing a panic button within the home of an elderly relative using their existing Wi-Fi. It is a bit tricky to set up, but once it is set up, in my experience, it reliably notifies the Nets Home app that the button has been pressed. If you are in a situation where you only want really important audible notifications, then use Do Not Disturb and you will still get the alert sound if the panic button is pressed. However, if you're in a situation where you absolutely do not want any audible interruptions by your phone, then you need to use silent mode. But be aware that if the panic button is pressed, you will only get the notification if you use vibrate mode or the next time you check your phone. Personally, in the past, I have always used silent mode during the day and the automatically scheduled Do Not Disturb mode overnight. I'm going to change and use manual Do Not Disturb mode during the day for most situations, and only use silent or vibrate mode when I am in an environment where my phone absolutely must not make any noise whatsoever.